here's Brody Brazil.
I'll state this from the very start of the video. I'm not sure if and when Major League Baseball is going to be ready for expansion. If that's what Utah is hoping for, I just don't know if the game, the sport, the business right now, baseball, is in that position like they thought they would be to have one or two more teams join the mix. But when baseball is ready to either expand or maybe a team is looking to relocate, I mean, what they're doing right now in the state of Utah is amazing. All of the groundwork, all of the things behind the scenes. They're doing all the difficult stuff right now with no commitment, no attachment to a team. They're putting in the work and time and effort and resources into securing a foundation for a Major League Baseball team if they're able to latch on to one for Salt Lake City. We'll talk about the land approval in just a second. That's what happened last week. And again, kind of under the radar. I don't know that anybody's really paying attention to this. We know that the Portland Diamond Project is out there. We know a place like Nashville was heavily pursuing Major League Baseball. Now their mayor has said that they have no more public money to give as part of the process. But look at this progress for the state of Utah and Salt Lake City in the calendar year of 2024 alone, which is just about to wrap up. Back in January, $3.5 billion of a contribution by the Larry H. Miller Group. That was promised, not secured, but promised to this project. The Larry H. Miller Group, it's the former owners of the Utah Jazz. They're very much invested into trying to get baseball and a new stadium at this Fairpark, this state Fairpark location. So they're in on this commitment with a promise. Then in February, the Utah House and Senate separately approved HB 562. We'll talk about House Bill 562, what it means in just a second. But the big takeaway from that, it's $900 million in state funds for an MLB stadium by the year 2032. Now that's separate from the other $900 million that was also approved for Delta Center and for the Smith Entertainment Group and the Jazz and the Utah Hockey Club, about to be the Yeti, I'm pretty sure, to fix that area up for an entertainment and arena district. So two sets of $900 million approvals. This baseball one, it won't kick in until they've actually got the assurance of an actual team coming in. But here in December, they've created the State Fairpark District. That's important because that's now a development agreement with the Larry H. Miller Group. Talk more about that in just a second. Why this vote quietly behind the scenes, it's just another step forward in the process that really makes Utah a competitor for a Major League Baseball team. Like I said, if and when one becomes available. House Bill 562 from earlier this year in February. Taxes are going to be generated from sales within the stadium district, which they've now basically identified in the land in the area. It also adds a 1.5% increase in car rental tax to non-residents. And again, only if Utah lands a Major League Baseball team. Team has to use the name Utah in its name, as part of its name. It can't be Salt Lake whatever. It's got to be the Utah blank, Utah Baseball Club. And they have to play all of their games in Salt Lake City at this stadium at the Fairpark District. They can't go travel around. They can't share. There is kind of a non-compete, a non-relocation agreement as part of it. The state would own the stadium and the land, and it would be leased back for $150,000 per month to the Major League Baseball team. That was all part of what was approved back in February. But here's the latest. The city council has now approved the rezoning of 93 acres, which are already owned by the Larry H. Miller Group. And again, in the process of procuring a baseball team, usually you get some hints that a team might be available. Then you got to scramble and put everything together. They're already working on these things so that if a team becomes available, they've got all of their T's crossed, all of their I's dotted. They've also now got a development agreement in place with the Larry H. Miller Group. They've also got squared away the promise of expedited reviews for land use applications on the site. And right now, there's renderings, which we're about to see. But the problem is, what if they needed approvals on something? They need to make something different from how it originally seemed. Well, expedited reviews means that Salt Lake City and Utah, they're not going to drag their feet on this. This process is going to have some priority in terms of getting it done. As part of the development agreement, 10% affordable housing on the site and 20% of the housing units have to be family sized. And I think that was qualifying as multiple bedrooms and bathrooms. So not just a lot of condos, but they want full family housing here as part of this site. And here's what they identified. It's just kind of the overhead view here. The ballpark, by the way, is going to be right next to the river, kind of on, let's see, this side, this side of the image. I should have used the telestrator. Right next to the river. All of that area of the site between Redwood Road and North Temple, that's going to be all developed out, but top right corner of that highlighted yellow area is where the ballpark is going to go. And we can just show it to you right now. They've had these renderings out for a while, and Big League Utah is kind of the front-facing name of this group that's pushing baseball for the Larry H. Miller Group. And again, you think about this. They've got the public money lined up. They've got the site lined up. They've got a development agreement lined up. They've got so many wheels in motion here, it's kind of crazy. To be honest, if this didn't happen, the real only question now is, will Major League Baseball expand anytime in the near future? Are they still kind of handcuffed with the A's and Rays situation? Might a team like the Chicago White Sox be that vulnerable if they can't get a new ballpark? Might they come out west to Utah? How about the A's? What if Las Vegas, for whatever reason, falls through financially from the team side and the private financing side? I mean, Utah already ran those billboards that said, "We want the A's." Has that changed? Here's a look at where the stadium is. It's that blue area in the Power District. It's right between the airport and downtown and not far away from University of Utah, and it's all connected via public transit. Spencer Cox, the governor of the state of Utah, said this back when HB 562 was approved. The West Side is a gathering place for so many people and an opportunity to be a showcase as people are visiting our state for the first time to see this incredible development, as well as potentially Major League Baseball sitting right there, welcoming people into the capital city. One of the sponsors of HB 562 was Representative Ryan D. Wilcox. Back in February, Representative Wilcox said this, quote, "If you don't run to your position, someone else will. We have a generational opportunity right now to communicate in the clearest terms possible that Utah is indeed ready for Major League Baseball." You note, by the way, that there's no explanation of via expansion or relocation. They're just trying to position themselves to be ready for whatever comes. We're excited for the opportunities HB 562 brings to our capital city, our state, and of course, Utah's families for generations to come. Okay, that brings me to the conclusion of this video and some takeaways. And again, just in the calendar year of 2024, it's amazing all of the groundwork being done in advance. And I know I keep saying this, but this is so far ahead, it seems, of where anybody else is at. And maybe we'll hear from Portland in the weeks to come. Maybe we'll hear more from Nashville, even though their mayor has basically said they're tapped out in public funds. Is Orlando still in the mix for something like this? But honestly, if you would have asked me in 2022, is Utah ready for a Major League Baseball team? I would have said, what's ready? There's nothing going on out there. Now there's literally everything going on out there. And by the way, they've just done this successfully. You know how they got the Utah Hockey Club? Arizona had a situation. They were kind of faltering. They were failing. Utah went out and said, well, we can do $900 million. And the NHL saw that. The NHL realized that the Coyotes situation was not getting better. I don't endorse this or condone it, but the league also said, hey, Arizona, if you're owner, if you can secure yourself a stadium, we'll come right back to you. We'll give you your team back. You have 5 years to do it. And the owner backed out, bowed out, and backed away. Crazy enough. But the point is that Utah has just done this with $900 million to get a hockey team. And yeah, the Jazz, coming from New Orleans, never had the right name and they never switched. At least with the hockey club, it's a generic name. They'll name it appropriately next year. But is this more likely to steal a team than expand by a team? And if you are hoping for expansion, again, I really don't know where Major League Baseball is at. Doesn't seem like a great place with the television deals that it's unable to strike, the new streaming ventures, a lot of big contracts going on right now. You have two major league teams for 2025 playing in minor league stadiums. There's a lot to sort away if you're Major League Baseball. Nashville has already hinted that they're maybe out entirely or to some degree, unless it's entirely privately financed. So Utah has really positioned themselves, I think, right now as the most turnkey Major League Baseball suitor in terms of being a city. Like, you tell me who else is this far ahead in the game of laying out all the details. Here's how we do it. We'll show you our math. It's kind of crazy that all of this has come about in the last calendar year, at least publicly. I'm sure behind the scenes it's been talked about for a while, but here in 2024, nobody has made more progress than the state of Utah on that site right there. That's the end of this video. Thumbs up down below. I would really appreciate that. It helps me, this video, and this channel. And one more quick thing, if you would, go down there and make sure that you're already subscribing to this channel. That way I can definitely see you back here next time.